Oi. Hello. Greetings then on ya. I was gonna wear this towel that my buddy down in Australia sent me. It says Bondi Beach. That's right. He was FaceTiming me from Australia. He was showing me the beach down there. He goes by the screen name Ruthless. I know he's going to be watching this because the title of the video is going to be Australia. I don't want anybody thinking I'm picking on Australia in this. I'm absolutely not. I love Australians. And I know what's going on down there. It's not, the vast majority of the Australian people. Yeah, the Aussie Cossack had been arrested on trumped-up charges. There's videos up on his YouTube channel, so you should go check those out. The last one is... And it's very hard to make out because his wife is really quiet on the last video, talking about her husband being arrested. This video is mainly about Australia, not just the Aussie Cossack. Anyway, they read the charges off to him, and I think it's where he was exercising on the sidewalk, and a cop was giving him a bunch of lip, and a cop, and I don't know why I'm calling them cops. These are not actual police officers. Police officers are there to support and protect the citizenry of ABC, XYZ countries. So these are not cops except in name only. There's just no way you can technically call these people cops. What a lot of them are engaging in is a pure thuggery. Let me repeat that, thuggery. So anyway, they arrested the Aussie Cossack for doing nothing at all. I know what they're going to do too, and a lot of people agree with this, that they're going to put him on bail so the next time he could be remanded. It's a strategy to completely shut him up. The only reason he's actually arrested was for filming this horrible person, is wearing a uniform. And I remember the video. The officer threatened him, the Aussie Cossack, whose name is Simeon Boykov. I think a lot of us, especially Americans and Europeans, if Australians are listening, and I know Australians are listening because I have a lot of Australian listeners, and I'd love to go visit Australia. God knows it'll probably never happen now. It was an impossibility kind of before because it's so far away and so damn expensive to get there. That we as Americans, we think that Australia is the land of Crocodile Dundee and fuzzy, cute koalas. I mean, let's just be honest. Then let's examine that too. Crocodile Dundee left Australia. I know he still is a citizen, I believe, and has property there. But he left Australia for Los Angeles, okay? Long, long time ago. He's not living in Australia now. And koalas, was it like 95% of koalas carry chlamydia? That's not funny, but I didn't know that fact. Like, koalas, even though they're cute and fuzzy, they're just like holding one is kind of hazardous to your health. And correct me if I'm wrong on that one. Obviously, Australia started out as a prison colony, penal colony. But we all have this fuzzy idea of Australia, but it appears to be a land of enormous tyranny. And the reason why none of us saw this before, and correct me if I'm wrong, since some Australians are going to do that, is that it was never put to the test. It's kind of like someone that looks really like these fake gurus. Australia is like a fake guru under perfect times. And there's a comment, quote about that, like, it's easy to be a vegetarian when there's lots of food, but if like the poop hits the fan, a vegetarian's going to eat whatever it takes to survive. Australia is like a fake guru that looks, calm and peaceful when everything around him is calm and peaceful. But if you scratch the surface, then you see the true colors. And so what's happened in the past 2 years, whatever you think about that one way or the other, and I'm not going to comment on that, Australia has had its surface scratched, and people are starting to see Australia for what it really is. And I'm actually not attacking Australia. Actually, there are thousands of Australians, and this is no lie, if I'm lying, I'm dying. They told me when I said that Australians, not the Australians themselves, but the government and the tyranny going on there, obviously I'm not going after Australians, that they should be really embarrassed. And when I first said that like a month or so ago, Australians told me, a lot of them, enormous amount. They said, yeah, please embarrass us. We want other people to see, the horrible things that are going on down here. I mean, the tyranny that's going on. I mean, I've been sent so many hundreds and hundreds of videos, just horrible things that you would never expect. Yeah. But once again, this is, things are always idyllic and peaceful times. If you want to really see somebody or something's true colors, it's kind of like, I remember a movie where this, these English people, they buy this gigantic sword, and it was like $200 or something. It looks really evil, and it was really sharp. But when they actually had to use it later in the movie, it just shattered to shreds because it was a cheap piece of Chinese junk. And a lot of things are like that in life. When you scratch the surface, you see what they really are. So we're seeing not Australians' true colors. I'm not in any way impinging on Australians. Rather, the tyranny of the... and I've found out, and tons of Australians told me this. I looked up the name of the company, even though I'm not going to name the company. It has a really weird name. Okay? That these are not actual cops. What they are, they're contractors working for this weird named company, which changed its name like 6 years ago. They're kind of like mercenaries, like an American analogy, like mercenaries working for Blackwater. They're mercs. They're answerable only to the whims of this corporation. I'm not going to name, I know the name of this company, I have it right here, but I'm not going to name it, for many, many reasons. Not going to do it. I have a note for the Aussie Cossack, whose name is Simeon Boykov. You have two options, really, and of course I don't ever tell anybody what to do with their own life. I mean, I lived in Russia, both communist and post-communist Russia, and even during both, there is a way more freedom in Russia than there is in Australia. Now, if I dialed the clock back a few years ago and I made this video saying there's way more freedom in Russia than there is in Australia, that you all would have said I was, snorting white dust or something like that. Let's just be honest. But that is the case now, just beyond any shadow of a doubt. And here's my message to the Aussie Cossack. Tell him this, a.k.a. Simeon Boykov. Ты меня слышишь, а? Ясно как смертный грех. Ты понял? Ты слышишь, а? Понимаете? I'm going to give you, if you can make your way to the United States, I'll deed it to you in my will, and you can have 2 acres of flat, perfect farmland to do with whatever you want. Plop a house on it. Start farming. You do construction work. At least that's what I hear. But if you can make your way to the United States with no strings attached whatsoever, okay? Serious as a heart attack. If I'm lying, I'm dying. You could have 2 acres of my land. Ты меня слышишь? Let the Aussie Cossack know that if he can make his way to the United States, he's got 2 acres of land to do with whatever he wants. Serious when I say that. I really, really do mean that. 2 acres, Mr. Boykov. Yeah. 2 acres. 2 acres of land is a considerable amount of land. So it's yours if you could get here. So what I said, once again, that Australia, not the citizens, not the normal good folk of Australia, are embarrassing the hell out of themselves, I'm obviously not pointing the finger at them. One thing is really weird, and I hope Australians are listening to this especially. There are people that I know for a fact that are Australians. Know for a fact. Some of them I've known for years. They'll leave a comment, and this is what they say. I mean, these are some real Karens in Australia, and I've heard from Australians that Australia is full of Karens. They're saying stuff to me like, I can't believe you're saying this crazy stuff about Australia. You've never been here, which is true, I've admitted. But I'm not actually saying this stuff. These are what the fellow Australians by the thousands are telling me. They're showing me videos. They're not doctored videos. So where do these are these Australians like living in a hole in Coober Pedy, which is where they dig all these holes in Coober Pedy, Australia, where they mine for opals? Have all these Australians, these Karens, these clueless know-nothings, have they been living in a Coober Pedy hole in Central Australia? I tell these people, I said, this is not me saying, this is thousands of Australians telling me this fact, sending me videos of tyranny, thuggery. Let me use that word again because that's exactly what's going on. Thuggery. So, wherever these Australians are from and whatever deep hole they've been living in for the past couple of years, I hope they go talk to their fellow Australians. Really strange. I'd like to know from the Australians too. I've been sent pictures of this and got double confirmation of it. There's these United Nations marked armored cars that they have Sydney tags on them. The bonnet on the top says United Nations, UN. And they have Queensland number plates on them. So we have United Nations armored vehicles marked United Nations, but they have Queensland number plates. And they're being shipped en masse. I don't know where they're being shipped, but I mean, there are plenty of pictures of them. I don't know if the Australians know what's going on there. This is off an Australian website. It's a legal website, lca.lawcouncil.asn.au. Australia, and I know they have common law and whatnot. I don't even pretend to be an expert on law, much less Australian law. But Australia has no Bill of Rights at all. This is from the Australians' own legal website. Australia is the only Western democracy without a charter or Bill of Human Rights. All countries with legal and political systems somewhere in Australia have a bill or a charter of human rights. And there's not much to stop the Gov from introducing laws that take away our fundamental rights and freedoms. So that's from an Australians owned and run law site. So I'm 100% certain, once again, that what we're seeing is something being put to the test. Kind of like that $200 sword like those guys bought in the movie. It's like, oh my god, look at that. It's just really evil looking and it's so sharp. But when they had to use it, it just crumbled. We're seeing Australia being scratched, you know, kind of like a piece of chocolate that's been like hiding in the attic for 4 years, but it still has that beautiful gold foil on it. But when you scratch the gold foil off that chocolate, you see there's like ants and maggots underneath the gold foil, and it's rotten and moldy. Yeah, that's what we're seeing here. And I could point out a million problems with the United States, okay? So I'm not actually trying to single out Australia. Please don't jump on me for that. I love Australia and Australians. I get along fine with them. You know, a bunch of great folk. I mean, I really do. I love to visit there. I've had so many offers from people to come visit Australia. It's like, I can't afford to get there. Even if I could get there now, it's like, what would I do? Would I be like living in quarantine for 2 weeks and, you know, living as a prisoner? Australia, for countless decades, has proven themselves to be incredibly xenophobic. I mean, radically xenophobic. They're so worried about foreign bugs and other things, and yet Australia is the one that introduced the cane frogs that are like decimated wildlife. You know, the government did that, I believe. Introduced the cane frogs. These other stupid things, you know, decimated Australian wildlife. I'll never forget that series about cane toads and what a horrific nuisance they are. It's like, oh, it's right, we're going to fix this by introducing this foreign creature, the cane toad. Now they can't get rid of them. But they're really, really xenophobic. There's something really screwy that's been very readily apparent about Australia, but insanely xenophobic. Like, you know, if someone got off the plane and they were sneezing or something, you know, they want to quarantine. You're like, no, no entry allowed for you. They've been like that long before this silliness started in 2019. So, yeah, Australia is not the land of Crocodile Dundee and fuzzy koalas. You know, it's just not. Crocodile Dundee left for Los Angeles, and the fuzzy koalas all got chlamydia. That's not funny, I'm sorry. As far as go subscribe and support Aussie Cossack, aka Simeon Boykoff, and once again, tell him that I got 2 acres for him. Look into my eye. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Ты меня понял? А? Ясно как смертный грех? Точно сказал? Молодец. That was Russian, by the way. He knows Russian. Some other Russian Australians. By the way, there's a lot of Russians here in central Kentucky. You know, if you can make your way here and claim the 2 acres of land that I have for you. I mean, if I were you and I'm not you, Mr. Aussie Cossack, you know, head for Russia, but where you've got way, way, way more freedoms. Because I lived in Russia for quite a long time. Or head to the United States, and if you can get here, I got 2 acres for you. Love you, Australians, but the videos, the hundreds, it's not like, well, you know, that's an isolated incident. The hundreds of videos that I've seen and the tyranny going on down there, Australia is embarrassing the living piss out of itself. And that's not attacking Australians, okay? So chill out with that. Боже мой, блядь. That was Russian too, by the way. Translate that one. Боже мой, блядь. Ужасно, блядь. Translate that one also. Кошмар. Кошмар, ужасно. Ой. Dear God, Australia. Wake the hell up. I mean, actually, Australians are awake. I don't actually mean that literally. There are some, though. Like I said, they leave these comments to me. It's like, what are you saying? Everything's fine down here. Oh, really? It's like, I'm not saying this. Thousands of your fellow Australians are telling me this. And the videos that I see will make your toenails curl. They're so horrific. It is the rest of the Aussie Cossack for, like, exercising on the sidewalk. And it was like a video from 2 weeks ago or something, and then the cop in that threatened him. And the cops obviously, you know, the cop found him. And they're just trying to shut him up. They're shutting the Aussie Cossack up because they're exposing the tyranny and the, you know, the thuggery that's going on down there. Now, when I say thuggery, that's my subjective conclusion based upon hundreds of videos that have been sent by Australians. You feel free to disagree on that one. Damn.